Hey everybody, Pat Armstrong here with the latest from Increase, the lifestyle vlog for men and the women who love them. You know, today is a special video because this is, well, let me just say this. My goal when I first started making videos for YouTube was to make one video a week, which would come out to 52 videos a year, obviously. And since I started this 2 years ago, I have not been able to do that. But this year, 2020, I've been able to make 52 videos. In fact, this is video number 52 this year. And partially that is due to being furloughed from work during the coronavirus. So I've been able to put more videos together. And so this is special in that way. I'm going to make a very special video when I actually do my 100th video, which will probably, hopefully I can maybe even get that done this year. Now when I say 100, I'm including all the ones I've done over the last 2 years, which means I still have about 20 videos probably to go, somewhere around there. But this video today is kind of special because I don't usually make videos regarding current events. And I do that for a few reasons. Number one, we're bombarded with that information from every news and media source out there. So instead, I choose topics that I believe, if applied, can help us grow mentally, physically, spiritually, and socially. Number two, I try to keep things on a positive note. And for that reason, I rarely even watch the news, because in today's world, truthfully, no news is good news. And number three, I also try to make video content that will be relevant in the future as well as now. And so many of the things going on in our world right now will be forgotten, and they're going to be memories destined only for someone's history book. Now, I've even had some of you remark that I should be making videos on current events and end-time biblical prophecy. Though I think many of those things might be relative to today, the length of the videos would be a problem. And I'm not saying I never will, but it's not something I plan to do in the near future. But today, I do want to address something that is a current problem, but has also been a problem for years. And I could bring up many instances where I've seen this played out, but I'm only going to address two, and then I want to show you how this was even a problem in the Bible times. This first came to my attention back in August 2005 when Pat Robertson, the host of the 700 Club, called for the assassination of then Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez. Now, Chavez was a horrible dictator who led the Socialist Party in Venezuela and killed thousands of his own people while leading the country to the horrible state it's actually in today, along with many other foolish deeds that he's done across the world. This is what Pat Robertson said. I don't know about this doctrine of assassination, but if he thinks we're trying to assassinate him, I think that we really ought to go ahead and do it. It's a whole lot cheaper than starting a war. We have the ability to take him out, and I think the time has come that we exercise that ability. We don't need another $200 billion war to get rid of one, strong-arm dictator. It's a whole lot easier to have some of the covert operatives do the job and then get it over with. Oh my goodness. The fallout from this statement. The news media went crazy calling Robertson everything under the sun and telling him he can't say that. But instead of holding his ground, Robertson began to backpedal by saying things like, wait a minute, I didn't say assassination. I said our special forces should take him out, and take him out can be a number of things, including kidnapping. Is it right to call for assassination? No, and I apologize for that statement. I spoke in frustration that we should accommodate the man who thinks the U.S. is out to kill him. Now, some of you are going to be very upset with me when I say Robertson should have held his ground. He meant what he said when he said it. But when the heat got turned up and he was afraid he was going to lose some of his audience, he backpedaled. More recently, a professional football player made a statement. Drew Brees, quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, amidst all the hate and disrespect for our country and our police officers, had this to say about our flag. I will never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States of America or our country. I envision my two grandfathers who fought for this country during World War II, one in the Army and one in the Marine Corps, both risking their lives to protect our country and to try to make our country and this world a better place. So every time I stand with my hand over my heart, looking at that flag and singing the national anthem, that's what I think about. We still have a long way to go, but I think what you do by standing there and showing respect to the flag with your hand over your heart is it shows unity. It shows that we are all in this together. We can all do better and that we are all part of the solution. What a great patriotic statement. Hey, I say Drew Brees for president. But again, the media goes back crap crazy over his words and tells him he can't say that. So what does Brees do? He backpedals. So, not Brees for president. In an attempt to talk about respect, unity, and solidarity centered around the American flag and the national anthem, I made comments that were insensitive and completely missed the mark on the issues we are facing right now as a country. They lacked awareness and any type of compassion or empathy. What? I read his first statement over and over and still failed to see the insensitive remarks. But again, he caves. And I believe Brees should have held his ground. But it's obvious he's more concerned about his fan base and the dollars that come with it than what he says he truly believes. Regardless, according to the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, Pat Robertson and Drew Brees had every right to say what they said. Whether you agree with it or not is beside the point. Hey, if Colin Kaepernick wants to kneel during the national anthem, whether I like it or not, he has every right to do so. What people need to realize is that there is going to be fallout from the things that come out of our mouths. So I believe if you're going to say it, stand behind it. If you can't take the criticism, then shut up. And if you don't want someone to respond to it, don't put it on social media. I can't believe how many people post things on Facebook and just expect everyone to accept it. Yes, you have every right to post it, but if you can't stand the criticism, keep it to yourself. If you feel that strongly about it, post it or say it, but stand behind it. I guarantee you, there are people out there who feel the same way. As I'm reading through my Bible, I came across probably the most well-known story in the book of 1 Kings. In 1 Kings chapter 18, Ahab is the king of Israel and Jezebel is his queen. Israel has reached the lowest point morally during this time. The prophet of God, Elijah, issues a challenge to King Ahab of a contest between himself and the prophets of Baal to prove who is the one true God. So the ground rules are set, and the winner will be determined by the God who drops fire from heaven and consumes the offering on the altar. Elijah allows the prophets of Baal to go first. The Bible tells us that the prophets of Baal called on their God for 12 hours with no answer. Of course, Elijah couldn't remain quiet and began to make sarcastic remarks such as, well, maybe you need to cry out louder. Perhaps he's talking and isn't paying attention. Maybe he's out hunting or on a trip. Maybe he's asleep and you need to wake him up. Well, of course, this only angered the prophets, and they yelled louder and even began to cut themselves and vandalize the very altar their sacrifice was laid on. Finally, Elijah said, "That's enough. It's my turn." The Bible tells us that Elijah built back the altar that the prophets of Baal had vandalized. And he laid the wood on the altar, and then he laid the sacrifice on top of the wood. Then he had a trench dug around the base of the altar, and then he had water poured over the whole entire sacrifice altar and everything until the trench that was dug was full. Then in verse number 37, Elijah said this simple 26-word prayer. "Hear me, O Lord, hear me, that this people may know that thou art the Lord God, and that thou hast turned their heart back again." Now listen to verse 38. "Then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt sacrifice and the wood and the stones and the dust and licked up the water that was in the trench." What a great victory! After 12 hours of trying, the prophets of Baal couldn't get a spark. But after only a 26-word prayer, God sent fire from heaven and not only burned up the sacrifice, but everything around it. Needless to say, the people were astonished. But word got back to Queen Jezebel, and this was her response to Elijah. In 1 Kings 19 and verse 2, Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, "So let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time." She threatened to kill him. And what did Elijah do? He ran away. Elijah just had a great victory on the top of Mount Carmel, where God proved to everyone that he is the one true God. But one woman named Jezebel threatens his life, and he runs away. Not only does he run away, but he tells God, "Woe is me. I'm the only one left serving you. I'm the only one doing what's right. You might as well kill me now." But God reminds Elijah, "Even as bad as things are, I still have 7,000 people in Israel who serve me. You are not alone." Listen, here's my point. If you feel like you need to say something, say it. If you feel like you need to do something, do it. But you need to realize that once you do it, it's out there. And since you put it out there, you might as well own it and stand behind it, unless you are proven absolutely wrong. But keep this in mind. You are not the only one who feels that way.